Well, good day and welcome to DC's Daily Tips as part of the Future of Hospitality live broadcasts that I'm doing almost every day. And I apologize for being a bit late. For those of you who were queuing at the door, waiting to come in at 7 a.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time, I'm just a few minutes late coming in. I was just in a mentoring call with one of my wonderful Melbourne clients who I've been mentoring for 2 years now. It was really, yeah. So it's been a fascinating journey through the pandemic and the restrictions in Melbourne, the lockdowns, and taking a closed operation into opening in restricted ways, and then fully reopening. And yeah, I enjoyed my catch up this morning, and enjoyed it so much that I went over. And I'm really sorry that I'm a few minutes late, because I know there's loads of you live waiting for this every morning or every afternoon, wherever you are. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is we're talking about pricing, and what I want to talk about is an opportunity. It came out of a conversation this morning that I had with my mentoring client in Melbourne. And we know that prices are going, costs are going up on pretty much everything. We know that inflation's at record levels since the 1990s. We know that the central banks haven't got a grip on it, and it's really, they're sort of chasing a wild animal in a way. And the opportunity I want to talk to you about is coming up to Christmas functions, festive period functions, and group bookings. And the conversation I want to have today is about the expectation that potential function clients are going to have in your business. Now, I'll be talking today, I'm sure some of you will be running, either owning or managing or involved in companies, hospitality venue companies that have function venues. So some of you will have dedicated function spaces. Some of you will have, you might be a cafe and that operates during the day, and you've got the capability of doing functions in the evenings. This is something that we'll talk about in what I call a review of real estate in a newsletter session, and then we'll do a whole week on review of real estate. But with the functions, I just want you to have a think about, people inquiring about functions at the moment are, they're potentially getting or having thoughts about whether they can afford to do the sort of functions and group bookings and family occasions that they might have previously done. And we've got this conundrum in that, certainly in Melbourne, for instance, in the last couple of years, the biggest concern is whether you'd be able to be open for a function and take a function. And this year, the biggest concern is really that people's budgets are much tighter. And therefore price is a much bigger focus. So really the tip for today is, when you're talking to your function clients, work out the sort of functions that you are really, really good at, the ones that you have customers, you constantly have customers for. Now, that might be a 30 people sitting down for lunch, or it might be 100 people cocktail party. It might be a more formal gathering. Clearly, if you're a wedding venue, you're a wedding venue. But you might be somewhere that does milestone birthday parties, and the main format for doing those parties seems to be a cocktail style rather than a dinner style, or a dinner style rather than a cocktail style. But whatever it is, work out what you're really good at and focus on those style of functions this season. And have your normal pricing offers, which you'll need to have reviewed your price anyway, but have a really good value for money deal that you can do for that style of function, that when your potential client says to you, I can't do it, I just can't book it at the price it's going to cost me at your function venue, that you're able to offer this special deal. And what you're going to do is you're going to let them know that you don't normally offer it. You certainly don't market it. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time we might be talking about using it as marketing, but you don't necessarily market this deal. But you'd like to secure their booking. You'd like to win their business, and if they're prepared to sign up for this special deal today, then you're happy to let them have it. And that might just be the thing that gets them over the line, right? The inquiries you're going to get for functions in the next few weeks for end of calendar year, Christmas, festive period, pre-summer holidays, you name it, whatever people are calling their function in December, there's going to be there should be a lot of inquiries, and there's some other tips we can do on marketing to make sure you get lots of inquiries. But I just want you to think about what you need to do to make sure you don't lose an inquiry. It's fantastic to have the inquiry, but if you're gonna lose them because of price, or potentially lose them because of price, it would be better to have the incremental revenue and margin in your business than to lose it. Unless you're in the wonderful position that you have so many more bookings than you can ever deal with. And there will be some venues, not many, but there'll be some that are in that situation. And I'd love to get you on this show and interview you live and share some of your wisdom with the audience. If that's you and you're out there and you're watching this at some point going, why would I offer a better deal when I'm so busy? But most places that's not going to be the case. Now, if you've got the function space, a separate function space, that's fantastic. And if you don't do functions and you're going, why on earth is he talking about functions? I don't do them. Find a way to do them. I don't care whether you're a cafe that's never done functions, but actually you can do some sort of functions, particularly at weekend evenings, Friday and Saturday nights. And you can put a spin on it that's absolutely unique and create something that people would actually like to do. It might be you might be able to do cocktail parties for 40 or 50 people, covering milestone birthdays of your existing clients. You target your existing clients and you do something really special for them. And you could actually have Fridays and Saturdays covered with very profitable revenue every week. And it's completely bonus. It's completely on top of your normal cafe trade. So that's one option. If you're a restaurant, you could actually do lunchtime functions. You could obviously give your restaurant over to a dedicated function if you haven't got a separate function space. But you can do breakfast stuff. You can do breakfast meetings, lunchtime functions. And it's profitable incremental margin that you, if you're not doing it, you have the option to do it. If you're stuck on that, reach out and we can talk about it. But some of the time, it's the way you can turn your 3 to 5% net profit margin into 8 to 10% pretty quickly. Yeah, that's it for today. I'm going to do a short one and keep it short. if you've got any ideas that you want to share, any success stories you want to share, any horror stories you want to share, any tips about how to get a function client over the line when it's merely an inquiry, any questions that you ask function clients that you believe could be useful for other people, bearing in mind, this isn't a conversation between you, me, and your next door neighbor competitor. We've got people from all over the place here, so it would be great to share some success stories, some strategies that work, some tactics that work, some processes, systems, procedures that work. So feel free to add that in the comments below. And if anybody would like to come on live, and we'll do a 10-minute interview on how to win more function sales, that would be awesome. I want to move these lives towards a podcast format over time. But initially, I want to get used to the tech, and I want to sort of get a feeling for the subjects that have more interest and the ones that have less interest. So really, I'm looking to the audience to give me feedback on things that I'm talking about on these dailies and whether they're relevant to you. And of course, like I always say, if you're watching live, please put a comment. Tell me that you're watching live and where you're from. And if you're watching later, you're watching the recording, please put a comment and tell me that you're watching it later and where you're from. Just the town or city. If you want to pop your venue on there, that's great. But I'm getting lots of feedback, particularly in direct messages. On LinkedIn, particularly. Welcome, sort of being positive about some of the subjects that I'm raising. So I'm just gonna keep going with this and see where it goes. I don't think this will be the format that we end up with over time. This is very much a work in progress. But it's a useful way to experiment, to see what you, the audience, want from something like this. So my original plan was to do a podcast, and that I still will do that at some point, a proper podcast, properly produced and edited, and with all the necessary bits that are required for a podcast, a proper podcast. But in the meantime, these daily life tips just give me the opportunity to get some conversations going, to share some subjects, put some bait on the end of a hook, and see what people are keen to talk about, what's useful, what isn't. So that's it. So you are part of an experiment. And I love doing experiments because it's a great way to see what's really needed. That's it. So it's the shortest one I've done, probably less than 20 minutes because I started late. But please, we're going to talk more about functions and function venues, function opportunities. We're going to talk about the ways you can use your real estate, your space in your venues to do different things, to offer different strategic products. And that's going to be a conversation that we probably get into in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to explore for another week or so subjects to do with costs going up and how we can adapt our strategies to really turn that challenge into an opportunity. And that's what, if we're going to thrive, through the chaos, if we're going to thrive through inflation and recession and systemic staff shortages, and we're going to keep a smile on our faces, and we're going to aim to do what we do best in hospitality, and that's put a smile on our customers' faces. Then if we're going to continue to do that and thrive through it, then we need to adapt. We need to, as I keep saying, dance with the external environment. And as the music gets wilder and louder in the external environment, we've got to dance. We've got to dance a little bit more wild and dynamically ourselves. That's it. I'm going to love you and leave you. And DC out. See you tomorrow.